Dude, I don't understand this. Why are people so mad at trad wife content? Isn't that just choice feminism? Oh, I am so glad that you asked me this question because I have been thinking a lot about this. It is true that they do have the freedom to make that choice. But the real question is, should this women use the same freedom to tell other women that their role is very limited? In the sense that should they be able to make money preaching to other women that their role should be limited to the household? Yeah, but they're just making videos. What's the harm in that? Yeah, but at the same time, you have to look at the larger context, right? So, for example, after World War II, when men wanted women back in the kitchen, they didn't do it alone. They used women themselves as the propaganda mission, like the happier housewife, the ideal mother, or the fulfilled wife, but just that. And historically, when we look at it during authoritarian and fascist governments, one of the first thing that is often restricted is women's autonomy. And very often the tools used are not just men, it's women reinforcing these roles onto other women. Like Bell Hooks talks a lot about this. She says how when women who are very close to powerful men, they are not necessarily upset by the whole oppression of women. They are more upset by the fact that they didn't get a seat at the table. And once they do get that seat at the table, they are much more willing to sacrifice the rest. Do you remember the golden skirt problem? Yeah, that was when the SBI asked the companies to at least appoint one women director, and they all ended up choosing their wives and daughters, right? Exactly. So if you are not being intersectional, simultaneously, if you are not looking at caste and class, what would end up happening is women who are closest to powerful men might end up benefiting, but it wouldn't leave anything for the rest of the people. They might end up making the bread, but they wouldn't even leave crumbs for the rest. Okay, but aren't we just blaming women here again? Like for every terrible thing that happens, women somehow gets blamed. Like I have seen women in day-to-day life where they have to appease to men just to survive. Like are we blaming that too? No, absolutely not. I am not saying women are the problem here. I am saying that sometimes you have to understand why women have to appease to horrible men. Not even to gain power, but sometimes just to survive. Women from a very young age are conditioned to see themselves as inferior. The problem is the structure here, and that is patriarchy. But in order to dismantle it, we have to acknowledge the fact that women also play a role in perpetuating and maintaining that structure. Sometimes due to fear or survival, or even just for individual power. So coming back to your original question about why are people so mad at trad wife content, first of all, people are not mad at all trad wife content. They are specifically mad at trad wife content that reinforces the structure but hides behind the language of choice feminism. Okay, so feminism is not just about removing barriers for yourself. It's also asking whether the choices you make does it make it easier or harder for other women too, right? Yeah, you don't exist in a vacuum. Your freedom to choose came from the women who fought for it. So how you choose that freedom affects other women too.